What is up, football fans, but most importantly, USFL fans? It is the USFL Authority, episode 11. These weeks are coming too fast, and we are already past week 1. I cannot believe it. Can you believe it, Webb?
Man, I can't. It's 10%. You know, I'm always like stats. It's already 10%. Like that seems like a lot for one weekend. So
yeah,
I'm excited for week 2 and see where this goes. So tough weekend for both of us. So.
It was not super fun, but you know what? I'm still rocking. I'm still all in, baby. I will not give up on this team. I'm one of those guys that's I just never quit. Once I get into something, that's what I'm doing. So, you know, I'm still a Creed fan, so it's all good. I'm used to the slander, man.
Creed fan.
I'm a diehard Creed fan. I've seen them live.
All right. I have too, actually, back in the day, back in their glory.
Look at that. All right. Yeah. Okay, so first thing we got to talk about, Webb, is these power rankings. These power rankings were especially not nice to my gamblers. Oh, my Lord. People trashed on us. I mean, I know there was no movement, but still, we just got killed. And then your maulers.
Man, we fell 3 spots. Like, at least you knew where you're going to end up. Right.
Okay. I thought maybe we'd bump up, but yeah,
bump
3
up
spots and stuff.
Bump over.
It wasn't that bad of a loss. It was
the biggest spread in the league.
No, it wasn't.
Who was bigger?
Generals.
Oh, right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. One last point. What's up? I paid attention. I wanted to make sure someone was worse.
Right. Well, you saw what the Generals did. They dropped 3 spots. They were in the top 3. So
yes. So the Generals and Maulers each dropped 3 spots. Here, let's go over it real quick. The Showboats moved up 1. The Panthers moved up a whopping 4, and the Breakers moved up 1. Who do you think is too high on this list? I think I know who it is. I know who it is. But who do you think is too high?
It's number 2, Philadelphia Stars. I think they're too high.
I did not know who it was. Why the Stars?
Because I think they got lucky. I really think that the Showboats shot themselves in the foot for the entire first half. The second half, the Showboats kind of settled in. Brady White started to get a little comfortable. They actually outscored the Stars in the second half. And, you know, I'm a big believer in the Showboats. So, and I'm not a believer in the Stars. We'll see this week. I just think being 2, should they be in the top 4? Yes, they're 1-0. Okay, crown them in top 4. But I think the Breakers performed better, and I believe the Panthers performed better.
You think the Breakers perform better than the Boats?
No, not better than the Boats, better than the Stars.
Better than the Stars. That's still crazy. You think the Breakers perform better than the Stars?
Yeah, because I think their defense is legit. I think probably 2 out of the top 4 defenses, and you know I love defensive ball.
I do know that.
2 out of the top 4 defenses were in that game. And MBT, you know, found a way, 300 yards, man. Like, he was no scrub. They just couldn't punch it in the end zone.
300 yards because he threw the ball 42 times.
That's fine, but he figured out a way. Like that.
So much.
If I told you at halftime that he was going to throw for 300 yards, would you have believed it? The answer is no.
No. I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have.
Exactly. So
I don't believe that they were better than the Stars. The Stars' offense was consistently legitimate. Their defense was enough.
In the first half, the second half, they scored 1 touchdown. Like, you can't tell me they're
still one of the most impressive.
They scored 27 points, 20 were in the first half.
That was still such a
and they were still throwing the ball. I think they got bailed out. I really do. I think
they're so good.
I
do think. Okay. I would put the Panthers above the Stars.
Okay.
Because the Panthers looking on both sides of the ball, where the Stars still didn't look that great on defense to me. They still had the first season, you know, we're the 98 Vikings. All we got to do is outscore, and our defense has to get 1 or 2 stops. You know, it still felt like that. And that's how they won. Yeah. And I think a lot of Brady White made a lot of mistakes. That interception to Channing Stribling was awful.
It was absolutely terrible.
It was insanely bad.
And in
person, I screamed. I was like, what? Because it looked so bad. But then if you look at the rest of the game, Channing Stribling had at least one of those touchdowns scored on him. And I mean, he's given up yards. You know, Channing Stribling, he'll get the interceptions, but you're going to get your yards. He's like the Trevon Diggs of the USFL. You know, everybody wants to be like interceptions. But, you know, look at the QBR against them, the stats against them. Wow. Yeah. But I digress. I don't think that the Breakers were better than the Stars. I don't think so. I mean, I've watched every game. I've watched the highlights again. I go through and I just don't believe that. Who I think is too high on this list is the Breakers. It's the Breakers. Wow. I think the Breakers are too high. I think the Boats could be above them.
You're just getting ready for game week, man. That's all this is. This is just, it's breaker week.
We do play them. You're right. We're going to break the brakes off the Breaker. Beat the brakes off the Breakers. But no, I just don't think the Breakers just weren't that impressive to me. Offensively, with all those weapons, you really, 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 really believe that they should have done better. And then the Boats, they just looked like more of a cohesive unit. They looked better and more well-rounded all the way around. Brandon picked his his player of the week for the Boats, and it was a defensive lineman. They were penetrating. They were getting sacks. They sacked Case Cookins like 4 times in the first half.
Another downfall of the Stars.
Yeah, the offensive line, man, is just not that good. But yeah, who do you think is too low? Let's go. Who do you think is too low?
You got to go with the Generals.
I don't.
The Panthers, okay, you can bump them up 1. I think we know where you put the Panthers. But I think the Generals, there are numerous drives that were stalled in the red zone. Questionable game calls. Riley kind of, I don't know, didn't have his magic that he had last year. It's week 1, so I don't want to overreact.
It is week 1, and that a lot of it is overreaction.
Yeah, the Generals may be the best own 1 team. I like the Boats too. So I don't know. I think right now 7 and 8 is accurate. Unfortunately, I believe 1 is accurate, and I think from 2 to 6, you can kind of argue either way.
Okay. Mine is very obvious, and I don't want to get into it yet. But the Gamblers should definitely be above the Maulers. The Maulers didn't have an offensive touchdown. Like, they didn't even really get close. They would start drives at the opponent's 40.
That's not true. That's not true. They missed a field goal, and they were in field goal range. They got close.
How many field goals did they miss? They missed 1 field goal. And then 2 extra points?
1 extra point, and then when they scored the defensive touchdown, they went for 2 instead of going for the 1.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I feel like he missed more than just a field goal and an extra point.
No, a field goal and extra point and kick the ball out of bounds on the penalty, which that's a USFL rule that I just cannot stand. That's the only rule I can't.
That's a tough rule. But the fact that basically every drive started at the opponent's 40 and they didn't get an offensive touchdown is crazy. Okay. They had their first return kickoff. They had the sweet reverse. Bailey Gaither got them way down, and then they can't punch it in. I just don't believe in that offense at all. You say that it should look better this week. They're going to change some things up. And I believe that. I think it could look better. But I still don't believe that it looks better than the Gamblers offense, which in the first half was cooking and did look good. 2 rushing touchdowns. Kenji Bahar looked good. And then the second half came around, and that's when everything fell apart.
But you're talking about a defense that gave up a record passing percentage. Like, so we've had
there's been 1 season. There was barely
we've had 11 weeks. We've had 11 weeks, and this was the best passing performance. And you're telling me that the Gamblers are so much better, but their defense gave up a ton. And you're arguing my Maulers are lower because the offense didn't score. It seems like we both have a couple faults.
Because I don't believe that you could ever win a championship if your offense can't score a touchdown.
2001 Baltimore Ravens. You want to compare the Stars to the you want to compare the Stars to the 98 Vikings. What are you going to say? The Brady Moss Patriots too? You want to compare them, then I guess the USFL equivalent of the 2001 Ravens.
Ridiculous. I told you I didn't want to get into it. I told you I didn't want to get into it because I knew it would get heated because you're wrong, but whatever. Where are we? Where are we? Okay. So power rankings, we talked about them. You've seen them. They cover our faces. Let's go to player of the week. So you go first, because I believe that your team is worse. So I'll give you the go ahead. Who's your player of the week?
Well, I didn't go with the typical, I'm going to be out of the box for all of my player of the week. I don't want a guy that was voted on. I don't want a Breland Speaks, and I don't want a Josh Love and all that. My guy is Devin Gray. No, it's Devin Gray. I'm surprised there's a star, right? It's a star.
It's a star.
He is probably my favorite star. I think he just puts up numbers, and he's so quiet. He's so underrated. He had 7 catches, 77 yards, and a touchdown. Most of it was in the first half. He just continues to prove that he is a quality player, and I look for it. And like I said, he was on my fantasy team last year, and he just produces every week. So I gotta show him some love here.
Okay. And I was at that game, and every time Cookers threw the ball, you almost felt like he was throwing it to Devin Gray. I think he's a great receiver. A lot of people want to talk about Jordan Sewell. They want to hype up Corey Coleman because he was a former first-round draft pick. But Devin Gray is his guy. That's the guy that he's targeting. It's the guy he trusts. If he's scrambling, he looks for him. And this season, he's going to be scrambling a lot. So I think that Devin Gray is a great choice. But I got to go with the one-man wrecking crew himself, Breeland Speaks. This guy is insane. He came out and looked like the Chris Odom of the Panthers in week 1. I am going to go on the record and say that Breeland Speaks, hands down, is the main reason that the Gamblers lost that game. Not Josh Love, not with his record completion. It's the fact that Breeland Speaks was so disruptive that in the second half, the Gamblers offense couldn't do a darn thing. It's a darn.
You probably should change your pick defensive player of the year then. I know you
I was going to say that I said Robert Nkemdiche, right? Initially, because I was like, man, for some reason, the Panthers D-line is going to have a defensive player of the year. And I was possibly right, but it was Breeland Speaks. You know, me and Maverick, we were at the game. He was looking him up. He was like, who is this guy? He was like, I swear this guy's insane. You know, watching it live, my brother was like, dude, that guy's insane. He's crazy. He looks him up. He's been on like 7 different NFL teams. He's has like 26 tackles, 4 tackles for loss in the NFL. And then he, kind of downgraded to practice squads. And that's why he came to the USFL. He was one of their first free agent signings in this offseason. And wow, they picked a winner. This guy. And I love this picture. He was sprinting after the Noah Dawkins interception. And he's a guy that you like. After the game, he came up, he fist bumped Maverick. He was super likable and lovable. It's hard not to root for that guy. He beat the tar off my team. And I was like, I still like him. I still think he's a cool dude. So, yeah, that's my guy. And I got to say, player of the week and possible defensive player of the year. So that's what I got.
Oh, and he has the greatest name for a podcast. Breeland Speaks. That's all he has to say. He doesn't have to change it up.
It's cool. It's cool. And my brother is having fun coming up with puns. He's like, I just want to speaks it into existence, all this fun stuff. So I love his name, and he's just a very fun and dominant player. Just wild to watch. The Gamblers had to switch their left tackle midway through the game because he was beating us so bad. And we went from Brandon Hittner to Avery Genesee, and he was handling both like nothing. It was crazy.
Talking about your Gamblers, you got a big week. Trying to prevent going 0-2 against the Breakers.
Wait. We didn't talk about surprise players. Who was your surprise player of the week? Sorry, let me pull this back up so we don't get off track.
It's got to be Josh Love. I didn't expect it. He's former Mauler. He struggled a little bit last year. He's got to be the surprise that he was, setting records against the Houston Gamblers. Tolson was impressive. I'll give your defense.
I love that dude.
Tolson was pretty impressive. How about my boy Prukup coming off the bench?
Dude,
you got to give me some love. We had that battle. We gotta keep every so often we have to kind of keep standings.
So that's my surprise player. Dakota Prukup. So everybody expected you weren't that surprised. Going into the game that MBT was the passing leader. He also threw double the amount of passes that anybody else did. But the fact that Prukup, let's act like me and you weren't in Canton and watched and knew that he was QB1/2. Yeah. Nobody expected him to come in and basically be their starter in week 1. And he looked good. He rushed for that touchdown. He looked comfortable. I think that he could be a legitimate USFL quarterback. And, guys like him who come from the CFL, you almost have a hope that they are kind of like, alt football is okay. I like playing in the spring league. And those are the guys that I almost believe could be staples and household names in the USFL, that if this league keeps going, people have Prukup jerseys. People in New Jersey are walking around in Dakota Prukup jerseys. So he was my surprise, and I dug it. I'm man enough to say that's my bad and say that if he has a good season, like you're right, and you got me, dude. You got me.
Well, no, because MBT is still the guy. So if we're comparing stats, MBT is still the guy, and I crushed him all the time about his age. Man, the guy
looks spry.
The guy can still deal. He can still spin that ball, and he is so like calm and like the Maulers were hitting him the entire time, and they didn't rattle him. Like their front four were getting to him all. Yeah, exactly. But and then he ran, and when he landed on his head, I was like, "Oh man,
dude!" He did the cartwheel, and the USFL was memeing it on YouTube. That was kind of messed up, man. We don't even do those kind of memes. Like that was mean, but.
And then his wife being on camera, I think 1 million times.
So much. She was sitting next to RJ Young. Like, oh my gosh.
I kind of want to watch her series that she's the lead writer on. I know it's an Avengers series, but I kind of want to watch it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So. No, I also, did you notice that she was wearing a Royal Retros like
Breakers?
Yeah, the Breakers jacket.
No, I did
And then
not.
Alex Magoo in the press conference was wearing a Royal Retros Stallions hat. There's a lot of Royal Retros going around. I know that they might be getting like sued by the league or whatever, but like they do make good this hat. They make good stuff. I don't know what to say. Although this is a league, Antigua, it's fantastic stuff. I love this pullover. I wore it to the game. So little plugs there. But we move on to our week 2 predictions. So let me run through last week. I got 3 of 4 games wrong. Do you remember what you did?
Stallions I picked.
I did not.
I picked the boats, so I was wrong there. Maulers I picked, I was wrong. And I picked the Panthers, so I went 2-2.
Yeah, the only one I got was the Stars. That was literally the only one I got.
I'm writing that down. We'll keep track of standings.
Yeah, there you go. Write that down. And then this week, Gamblers versus Breakers. We gonna beat the brakes off the Breakers. I still believe in us. I have the Breakers. If you watch my show, I said they need to get pressure on the statue that is MBT. I even put a statue with a little football on it. Dude, we can get to him. We were getting to Josh Love. We got to Carson Strong when he came in enough that we disrupted him and they immediately pulled him back out. I think Houston's going to pull it out 23-21. I think they keep with their game plan. They keep with the interesting play calling. They're not going to be one-dimensional like they were in the second half, and I think we have them. We can beat the Breakers, man. I think we can do it. You have to have a running quarterback in this league to win consistently, and they don't have it. So that's what I'm saying.
I completely disagree.
I figured. Disagree. I'm a homer. I got to say it.
I get that. I get that. I just feel that the best time to get the Breakers was week 1. And I said on Hammer Time, that was the best time to face the Breakers because I think that offense is going to get better and better and better. And he got better as the game went on, and he started to figure out. And you can't be 34 years old. I can't believe I'm jumping on this MBT train. I really can't. I'm actually speaking.
He's a likable dude.
He's very likable.
So nice.
I'm actually speaking this out loud. I can't believe this. I can't believe this. But I think as the season goes on, they're going to get better and better. Do I think their defense is the best in the league? No. I think it's one of the best defenses. I think it can be scored on, but I don't know if the Gamblers are that team yet. And I'd say 27-10 New Orleans.
Yeah, so that's fair. So what I have, the biggest question mark for me, the biggest key to winning is that the secondary for the Gamblers, they have to disguise coverage. They have to be able to cover deep over top. If they can tighten it up, enough in the secondary, then I think we have them. Because if they're going to play and get beats on double moves and deep seam routes because they're playing some cover 2 where the safeties are splitting too far, then we're going to get ate up so quick by Jay Adams, Johnny Dixon, Sage Surratt. We're going to get killed by that team. Yeah. So that is the biggest question mark. If we come out in the first half and the secondary looks good, we're getting pressure, then I will believe.
You have to get pressure with only 4.
Yes, basically with only 4, which I think they can.
You cannot blitz. The Maulers did a good job of pressuring them in the first half, especially. Yes. I think they got worn out. They had the ball 15 extra minutes, so the defense just got tired. But you have to get to them with 4. You can't send 5 or 6. Like you got to
get to them with 4. And I believe that they can because Isaiah Chambers, Raheem Bingham, Christian Sicoli, these guys were getting great pressure on Josh Love. And, sometimes we'd bring someone off the edge with a blitz, every once in a while. And the blitz would always get there, even if it was just a second too late. I think that we have a good shot because I don't think that the Breakers' offensive line is as good as the Panthers' offensive line. I don't think they're the stars, they're terrible.
Yeah.
Not terrible. Sean Brown, sorry. But I think that they're probably the worst, the stars. And I think that the Panthers are a little bit better offensive line wise than the Breakers. So I think we have a shot. Things have to go right, but I do think we have a shot. And I'm a homer, so I got to do it. So I might, take an L every week on that. But game 2.
So you've got Houston, I got New Orleans.
Yep.
We don't care about score. We're just adding score. All right.
I'm gonna say score.
Game 2, 7:00 on Saturday night. All the South teams play on Saturday. So
yes, they
South
do.
Saturday. On Fox, Stallions are home again. Surprise, 12 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Against the Showboats. Your take.
Now, I think that the Showboats defense is going to show out better than the New Jersey defense, but I still think that the Stallions are going to win. I think the Showboats defense, they have a better defensive line than the New Jersey Generals. I believe in their offense a little bit more than the Generals, just because right now I don't think the Generals have someone who can really sling it. Prukop's good, and he's, kind of Mr. Make it up as I go. But I think Brady White is just a better traditional style quarterback, and I think that he can do well, but I do think that the Stallions are going to win 24-17.
I got the Boats. I believe that the Stallions. I believe the Stallions are the best team in the league. I just think injuries are starting to pile up. They seem to get beat up against New Jersey, and I think it'll catch up on them. And I think the Boats are hungry, man. Like that second half, like I really watched that, and I know you were there, but like I just feel like something clicked with Brady White, and they started moving the ball. Did they score a ton of points and light up? No, but they make stupid mistakes. They did that last year. They were undisciplined. Penalties killed them. I have this feeling that the Stallions are going to go down this week.
Well, the biggest thing with the Boats, if they can figure out the run game. Alex Collins had a good amount of yards, but it was mostly off of drop downs from, little Texas routes or running into the flat in the backfield. But he wasn't getting a lot of yards between the tackles, some on stretches and tosses. So if they can figure out a run game, if they can make the Stallions defense have to respect their run game, then I think Brady White could really open it up. And then we could see a full Boats offense that I think you believe in. So Alex Collins is the big thing that you need to watch this week. If he can start busting out 4-5 yards a carry, then I think that they have a legitimate shot. I only have them a touchdown down.
Yeah.
But it's because I don't think that they're going to get the run game going, and I think that the Stallions are going to have them.
I am a big believer in Ryan McDaniel, Rashard Davis, Derek Dillon, Vinny Papale. I love their wide receiver group.
I do too.
Personally. And
Derek Dillon is very good.
He is. And Rashard Davis is a big play waiting to happen every single time.
It's crazy.
And McDaniel had 4 catches. I really feel like this is the time to beat the Stallions because they do have the injuries. Marlon Williams is a big hole to fill.
Yeah.
Bobby Holly got transferred.
Bobby Holly
that's not be able to do the for Bo Scarborough.
To not be able to do the what is it, T-bone or wishbone package? T-bone.
Well, don't they use the Maryland eye?
Yeah. It's like I think they call it the T-bone. Whatever it is,
old school.
They don't really have it as well with Bobby because it's hard to find guys who their literal passion is to block people and to lead block. Crazy. But to replace him, Jamar's up in the air. You don't know if he can come in, so you got to lean completely on Magoo, possibly. And then no Marlon Williams. Absolute respect for that guy for coming back out, talking on television. So they're losing a lot of people, and they are only a couple more injuries away from not being the top team. To be completely honest. So
they do get Thaddeus Moss, right?
Dude, I really hope they do because he's on my fantasy team. But yes, to have Thaddeus Moss does definitely help.
But like you said, they don't have a blocker. Like Thaddeus Moss is a wide receiver, and Sternberg's kind of the same way. They're more
a blocker.
Receivers.
Yes.
So I just feel, and I know they've got a great offensive line. I think this is the time to beat the Stallions. Like if the Boats are going to get back into this thing, they can't go 0-2. They cannot. Like they just
The South is a tough division to go 0-2 in.
Yeah, because if you let the Stallions go 2-0 when they're hurt, Like you're not going to catch them.
No.
You're not going to catch them.
You got to beat the Stallions.
And the Breakers will get better as the time goes on, especially on offense.
Talk about the Breakers. Okay, so you have the Showboats beating the Stallions. What's the score?
I put 24-20. It's going to be close. Okay. Like I wouldn't be surprised if the Stallions win. I just think it's the time to beat them.
Okay. All right. Game 3. We have New Jersey versus your Maulers. Now, I'm going to let you go first. Yeah. It's a tough one.
All right. So I'm going to pick the Generals, 13-10. I think it's going to be a defensive
game. It's the most boring game ever.
No, it's great. It's great.
You like those. You like those.
I love the game because just like this past week, it was 15-15 in the fourth quarter after Isaiah Henney. It was just awesome. Like
that was such a cool return.
Yeah, it just like that moment. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, like this is crazy!" Like they haven't done anything on offense, and they get it. Being 13-10, I just feel like the Maulers' defense is solid. I don't fully believe in the Generals. I don't believe fully in the Generals' offense yet. Trey Williams missing. I haven't heard anything about an injury or anything.
Neither have I. And he didn't play in the scrimmage when we were there either.
Yeah. So if he comes back, that adds something.
That is a new thing, especially with his pass catching ability.
But Echoes Looper was solid, but they're missing Turpin. Like you could tell that they were missing that little pick me up. DeAndre Johnson seems like he can't throw the ball, to be blunt.
He is a glorified running back, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I mean, I like the guy. I think he had a lot of potential, but I don't think he ever grew into it. He cannot throw the ball.
If I'm the Maulers defensive coordinator, if I'm Jaron Horton, if I see DeAndre Johnson as the quarterback, you got to bring run.
Extra.
We're playing run the entire time. We're focused on Vito.
You're gonna
don't let Vito beat us. Vito had a great game on 8 carries. He had 88 yards in that big long play.
The fact that he only had 8 carries was kind of surprising to me.
Yeah, that's true too. But they were behind, so they were throwing the ball a little bit more. Because Prukop had 17 attempts, and I believe Johnson had like 14 or 15, so they had 32 passing attempts. You're only going to get about 60 plays. You know what I mean? So
so you have the Generals winning 13-10 against your Maulers.
Yeah, and it's also the bad juju. Like I picked the Maulers last week, they lost. So
I'll pick the Generals, try and give them some of that web juju.
And I'll be wrong. I'll be wrong all year picking against them if they're winning. So that's my game plan here.
That's fair. I also have the Generals. I have the Generals winning 23-13. Okay. I think that maybe you get a pick 6. Maybe you get lucky with another return. Maybe you just get something like an interception or a return that's so close that you literally can't mess it up unless you put Groshek in. So maybe you score an offensive touchdown. But 23-13, it was painful watching your offense. It was painful.
I agree. From what I hear, it's going to look different. I think everyone in the locker room in Canton believes that it's got to look different. Like it just doesn't feel right. No one says it publicly, which I'm happy for. It seems like the team is really together. If you watch my show, I actually have a direct quote from Boogie where it's just like, we just have to get better and just continue to grow. And
Boogie did well.
Yeah.
Boogie had a great game.
Boogie's looking at 7 to 10 sacks this year. That's his goal. So
that's awesome.
And if you watch his podcast, he's on a show now. Did you see that?
I did.
He
looks good. He's
going to do it
very
weekly.
in his element. He's very
Tuesdays are days off, and he's going to Cleveland to film it.
So. Oh yeah, they have Tuesdays off. I think that's so cool. But yeah, I enjoyed that, and I think Boogie's a great guy. He wants to be on the USFL 50, and I think he has a great shot. So
yeah,
get on there, Boog. What's up?
All right, and the last game of the week.
Last game of the week. This is the
best game. Yeah, this is the game. This is the best game.
Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. Everybody should be watching this game on FS1. I don't know why they didn't bump it. They didn't change channels. This game deserves to be on Fox.
Yeah.
This is going to be a good game. I have the Panthers winning. I have them winning in an offensive battle. I don't see tons of defense in this game.
Even with Breland Speaks?
Bro, even with Breland Speaks, because Case was running for his life.
The Swiss cheese offensive line.
They're used to it. They're used to it. Case Cookis was running for his life against the Boats, and he was still doing it. It was crazy. Did you see his last touchdown?
Yeah, I put that in the YouTube short for Player of the Week.
The guy's crazy.
He's very good. I just don't believe in all 50 guys.
I believe in it. So I think Michigan pulls it out 31-30. I think Josh Love has a great game. I think Case Cookis has a great game. I think Case gets sacked at least 5 times. And so I think Breland Speaks will still have a good game. But I think that the Stars offense is just that good that even with that, I think that they still will lose. This is the game, right? This is the game that decides. We got in our USFL community rankings. I'll put it up. 2-3. 2-3 are playing.
Yeah.
Who are the Stallions playing? Stallions are playing number 5. So having 2 and 3 play, this is the game of the week. And so I'm excited. I think it could be really good. Sunday night, I'm excited. I'm not going to have the Sunday scaries because I'm going to be so excited.
I agree with you. I'm picking the Panthers. I don't think they're
no way.
I don't think against the Stars. Hello.
Well, you don't like to say you're a Stars hater. I'm a Birmingham hater, but I had to calm down because man, they put up a good game. So
I just don't believe in the Stars fully. Obviously, I've said it numerous times. I think Michigan is really good. I can't believe they're going to be in the driver's seat after 2 weeks after they beat the Stars.
Wild. I think they'll go up to number 2 easily. Unless the Stallions lose. If the Stallions lose, they are number 1. I don't see how you don't put them.
If my predictions are right, it's New Orleans and Panthers will be the only undefeated team after this week.
Man, I got to make a graphic. I'm going to make a graphic each week, and we're going to put it out after each episode of USFL Authority with our picks for the games. No scores, just, the logo of each team that we're picking. Because I think we only agree on 1 this week. 2. No, because you said Generals.
I said Generals. We agree on the North.
We agree on the North. So Sunday we agree. We're rooting for the same people.
Yeah, Saturday.
And, we're not rooting for the same people. You're rooting for the Maulers. But, we have the same winners. Saturday we're rooting for the same people. All right.
So, 23-20. I think Corbin gets going. I think, and Josh Love's he's not going to light it up like he did against Gamblers. I think he's going to be solid. Joe Walker's going to be pretty good.
He's the guy.
I think they'll figure out a way to move the ball. And talking about that, since we're talking about quarterbacks here, how great was quarterback play for most of the teams?
It was good. The fact that someone posted there was only 4 interceptions this weekend.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Comparing to last year, we talked about this on I think one of the first episodes of USFL Authority. What's the biggest opportunity for the league? And it's quarterback
to show
play.
The quarterback play is better in season 2.
And it just watching it, I'm like, MBT, you're talking about. I'm not. Franchise quarterbacks, there are a few guys that they're basing their team off of. It's not a switcheroo like it was last year. You know what I mean? Where it's kind of like the hot hand. They've got some good quarterbacks in here, and I'm really excited to see it as it goes on. So
it was good quarterback play. The product all around looked really good, and I think especially when you saw who was announcing the games, that is so much more announcing talent than this league almost has a right to have. It's crazy. The fact that we have so many recognizable names. When you look at the 3-letter league and they announce their announcers, I was like, I don't know most of these people.
Yep.
We look at ours.
Yeah.
I know most of them, if not all of them. Yeah. The fact that after the game, Maverick goes into the press conference and we're trying to find the press conference. And we're walking around and we run into this guy and my brother's just talking to him. And I had to stop and be like, you realize that you're speaking to Mark Sanchez right now, right? Because Mark Sanchez was announcing the game. That was crazy. I was like, dude, we are standing here with Mark Sanchez. Very attractive man. The butt fumble himself, dude. He was so nice too. Because Callan could not find the press conference. Nobody knew. Everybody who should know didn't know. So we're asking, and Callan, he just asked them, he goes, hey, do you know, because they had credentials and stuff, he goes, do you know where the press conference is? And he stopped and was trying to help him find it. And I was like, you realize that's Mark Sanchez.
That's awesome.
We have these, it's good names. It was a great product on the field. Quarterback play looked good. The games were all interesting. Even the games that were blowouts were still fun to watch all the way through. So
there's only one game that was a blowout.
There were 2. But the Generals lost by more, first of all. But it was just a good week of football. It was, all of them were fun to watch.
I think the biggest thing that I learned was that the games that weren't the home hub teams actually felt like an event. Like watching
Mhm.
the Breakers and Maulers, like yes, when they showed the crowd, it looked pretty sad, right? There weren't a lot of people. They showed MBT's wife 1,000 times, and there was no one
So
around her.
many times.
There's no one around her except her daughter, their daughter, and RJ Young, right?
Yeah.
Like that was all that was around her. But it felt like an event. They did a great job in TV production to make it feel important. Like I have a few friends that never watched season 1, kind of got interested because they see all my posts, and they're like, "Man, that was great." But what happened with the fans? And I was like, "Well, could you feel that the fans were there?" And they're like, "Only when they pan around the
Yeah.
stadium. That's the only time." It felt like a big game, and I'm talking about the Maulers and Breakers in Birmingham on a Sunday evening. You know what I mean? Like
It
it's
still looked
Sunday.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, it was exciting. The NBC game was the only one that didn't pipe in the crowd noise. You didn't know this. I
I
don't
did not
believe
know that.
they were the only one, and it still felt like there were people there. I
There
don't know how many
were.
people. I don't know how many people were there.
There were a couple hundred people there.
Okay.
There
Well,
was a lot of family. There was a lot of families. Josh Love, wonderful family. His mom and my mom have the same name. I met his fiance and was hanging out with them for a second. Josh Peterson's dad was there. I don't know if anybody's heard of him. Doug Peterson. He was there with
Yeah.
like 8 family members. Super nice guy too. And there was just tons of family, and then some random people from Memphis that came out and bought gambler stuff and were getting rowdy. So there was actually more people and more noise than I expected, which was cool.
Yeah.
I expected there to be like 5 people.
That's what I expected. I didn't really see a lot of pans to the crowd, but
It didn't.
it felt like it still felt like an event, even though it wasn't sold out. It wasn't the Showboats attendance. It felt like
No,
an
the
event.
Showboats was crazy.
The Stallions game at night in Birmingham just felt electric. Especially at the beginning, like it just felt like there was something special there, and they didn't even show up as well as they normally do.
Yeah, no, the Memphis though was crazy.
Yeah.
It was loud.
That should have been nighttime game.
Fans were
That would've
going
been awesome.
crazy. It should have
Yeah.
been a nighttime game. It was a good game, man.
How was the parking lot, the tailgating scene for the fans?
There was actually a lot of tailgating, especially right before the game. I mean,
You're in
probably
SCP country.
30, 40 cars, 30, 40 trucks. They had a stage out there with a local band playing, and they had a small crowd in front of them. It was a very fun experience.
That's
I
awesome.
won't be going back to Memphis, but it was a very fun experience. So I think they did it well. There was a lot of tailgating. Me and Mav, we were renting. They ended up giving us a Toyota Tacoma, so we threw the tailgate down and we sat in the back and watched the band, and we're waiting to go in. So it was a fun time. There were a lot of sailors hats too. I was going to try and get a picture for the captain, but sadly they walked in too fast. But it was a very, very good time.
That's great. That's great. You ready for the blindside? We're doing a new style of blindside here.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
It's blind.
All right. Our new style of blindside. I don't know if you see up there. It says KB blindside. KB, you here?
I am.
Yes, she is. KB herself, the brand ambassador of the USFL Network, our producer of the show. We decided it was just a little less fun for me and Webb to come at each other. So we decided we wanted KB to hit us both with it. All right. So, KB, what you got?
Well, you know that I try and always be the positive voice in the network.
Yes.
And I think that you would both agree that most people are expecting your teams to lose this weekend.
Yes, they are.
So what I want to know from the two of you is, if your teams lose, what will they have had to show you, such as a breakout player having a great game, coaching adjustments, things of that nature, that would make you still believe that your teams have a chance to make it to the playoffs?
I'll go first.
After going 0-2? Oh, man.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
If the Pittsburgh Maulers score an offensive touchdown, I have enough going forward.
Oh, my gosh.
As long as they keep it close, and they score an offensive touchdown, I have enough going forward that they'll get better as the season goes on.
What do I have to see for my gamblers? Man, I'll tell you, they ruined my day. They ruined my day. I was not happy the rest of the day. If we lose this week, I would need a blowout. I would need them to come out week 3 and absolutely just destroy. I don't remember who we're playing. Oh, the Boats, maybe.
Yeah, you're playing either the Boats or the Stallions.
Ooh,
because the North. Yeah, the North. I know the Maulers have the Stars.
Here. I have it right here.
So you're saying that if they lose this weekend, you have given up all playoff hopes?
No, but I would need not a blowout. I would need a solid win in week 3 against the Showboats. So I just looked. Game day. It's a 7 p.m. game, prime time on Fox, playing in Memphis against the Showboats. It should be a really big game. Should have a USFL record attendance probably. If we can go and upset the Boats that week, if we lose in week 2 and we go upset them by at least 2 scores, then I will solidly feel good that we have a chance at the playoffs. I mean, I'm going to believe in them no matter what, because this is my cross to bear, but that would make me feel like confident.
So there's nothing that they could show you in a loss to make you still believe.
If Isaiah Zuber comes back and still looks the same, him and Mark Thompson, if they both come back and look season 1 ready the same way they did last year, then I'm confident no matter what. If we have them both looking, mid-season performance levels.
Chris Odom's not walking through that door.
Come back, Chris. No, I'm kidding. He's making good money. He's taking care of his family. He's doing good stuff, promoting his paintball headbands. I might buy one. I'm thinking about it, but
okay. So the Maulers have to score a touchdown for Webb. Really? Could you set the bar any lower? They have to score a touchdown. Okay.
Get in the end zone one time.
Yeah,
they just got to get in the end zone one time. Okay. Okay, Webb. And for Ace, Isaiah Zuber has to have a breakout game.
Yes.
No. Let me change I'm gonna add more to it. You know that I like to be planned out. You guys know that. So throwing me the curveball with the blindside, I was getting used to Ace's.
This was your idea.
I know.
Your idea.
So I just wasn't ready. I'll be ready for next week's episode. They have to score a touchdown, and they can't do stupid mistakes. Trey Walker on running in the kicker. They hurt Matt White with the run in the kicker. I believe they got 2 run in the kickers. Kicking the ball out of bounds. Using a challenge flag on a play that I don't know what they're challenging.
That they didn't even know what they were challenging.
Yeah, like those stupid mistakes and, a better offensive performance, which obviously the bar is pretty low on that. But scoring a touchdown, getting better, maybe settling on a quarterback. I don't know which one they really want to use. Just seeing progress, keeping the game close. I think they could beat the Generals, honestly. This is probably one of the better times to take on the Generals because I don't think they're completely settled yet. But they knew going into the season that they had to play the Stallions, they had to play all the playoff teams the first 4 weeks. Me personally, I was hoping 2-2, so they could still make it 2-2 after 4 weeks. But then the pressure's on that they have to win those 2 against the Stars and the Stallions. So this is the game out of the 4 that they have to get to 2-2. So that makes sense.
That is an more acceptable response.
That is a reasonable.
Make a YouTube short out of that one.
Bar to set.
I probably went over a minute. Make a YouTube short out of that one, KB.
I'll speed you up.
I feel pretty good on that one.
The Generals. All right. Well, that was a fantastic first blindside from KB. Better than probably any of the ones I ever did because I would make them up mid-episode because I was like, I have no idea what to ask. That was solid. It was well thought out.
Thank you.
She pressured us, made sure that we gave legitimate answers. KB, bravo. Bravo.
And if both our teams are losing, her blindside can get tougher and tougher and tougher and tougher and tougher. She could have the same question every week.
We're the 2 people the players on the teams actually pay attention to, too. We can get called out. Every time I'm making a graphic, I'm like, okay, I haven't done this guy in a while because I know they'll be like, hey, when do I go? Wild. But I think this was a good time. This was a good episode. This is a long
I
one.
think we're done, gentlemen. I think it's been real.
I think we're done.
I think
we doing it?
I think we're out.
We're out.
Send us out.